My fellow Steeler fans, my fellow subscribers, and fellow NFL fans all together. I'm going to tell you guys what. You guys want me to shut up? You want me to stop being so negative and stop being so critical of my team or overly passionate, whatever you want to say? Well, then, there's one very simple solution to all that. It's beat a good football team. And I'm not talking about beat them because they beat themselves or they squandered several opportunities. I'm saying battle with them all game for 60 minutes and come out victorious. It is Friday morning, everybody. I am Mac, back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the box below. And this is my Week 8 preview between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field this Sunday afternoon. So, like I said, these past two wins, I am not completely satisfied with them because they've pretty much been the same wins, where the Ravens and the Rams had several opportunities to put us away and to quite honestly blow us out, but their incompetence and their mistakes were the difference makers in both those games, respectively. And quite honestly, the 4 wins we've had on the season, I haven't been too impressed with either, because it came down once again to defense scoring more than half our points in week 2. And then it looked like we would have a great win against Vegas in week 3 until we stalled in the fourth quarter as always and made the game unnecessarily close. So there you have it, man. That's why I'm saying, you want me to shut up, you want me to stop criticizing them, then battle hard against this Jacksonville team and beat them. Especially this coming Sunday when you got 2 Steeler greats being inducted into your Hall of Honor in Aaron Smith and a fan favorite, James Harrison, are both being inducted. So I especially want to see the defense step up right here. And I know that it can, okay? I know it can. Because we're allowing about 20 points a game, which I know we're capable of allowing less than that a game. Jacksonville's defense is pretty much the same. They allow about 20.9 a game. And this Jacksonville team altogether, all around, they're a really solid team. Of course, we all know that there's history between these two teams right here. They've met in the playoffs twice. Jacksonville beat us in Pittsburgh both times, in both 2007 and 2017. Okay, I don't need to go down that road again. 2 of the worst playoff losses I've seen the Steelers have in my 21 years of being a fan. But I think Jacksonville just has a major advantage in this game with the time off that they've had. Last time they played was last Thursday against the Saints in that tough game they had where Foster Moreau dropped a game-winning touchdown pass back left corner of the end zone. But that's why I think they just have a lot of, beneficiaries with this game, because they haven't played in at least 10 days going into Sunday's game. And even though that they're on the road, they still had a lot of time to prepare. Meanwhile, we have only a week off where we're flying from LA back home. Okay? So, looking at this Jacksonville team, offensively, they run a very modern offensive scheme where they incorporate the spreads, spreading the ball out to every player. That's just the kind of quarterback that Trevor Lawrence is evolving into. They incorporate the RPOs heavily, and they're averaging almost 25 points a game, which is a big mismatch for us because we are still in the neighborhood of just under 20 points a game. Okay, we're averaging about 17 a game now, and I will say, though, when we do score more than 17, we are 4-0 on the season, so I think that has to be our magic number, scoring more than 17. But how pathetic is it that I have to sit down here and say we have to score more than 2 touchdowns and a field goal to win a game? But you look at Jacksonville altogether. It starts with Trevor Lawrence. He had a rough rookie year in 2021, mainly large in part because Urban Meyer is just not fit to be an NFL coach. But once Doug Peterson came down to Duval County, and knowing how good of a quarterback coach that he is and how well that he works with QBs, it's easy to see why that he was very successful with Nick Foles out there in Philly and for an early part with Carson Wentz, because he has really made Trevor Lawrence into in my opinion, a top 10 quarterback in the league, and he may even be a top 5 quarterback in the AFC. At least I think he is. You're talking about a guy who handles the ball very well. He has really improved his reads. He's got a really strong arm, and he's very accurate with passing as well. When it comes down to the catchable passes and the on-target passes, he's top 10 in both of them. Just a really good football IQ, great decision maker. He don't panic in the pocket very well. And like I said, that arm that he has is very strong as well. So I think with this game, it's going to have to come down to the pass rush here, where you really got to get TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith involved per usual. Okay, because TJ didn't have a sack last week, but he did pick off Matthew Stafford where he jumped the cross route, was able to make a good play on the pass, and he came away with an interception. And then, of course, you got Alex Highsmith, who is absolutely playing like he earned that money that he got before the season start. But again, like, you got to get these guys heavily involved, especially guys Mike Tomlin, like Nick Herbig, who had his first career sack last week. You got to get Keanu Benton involved, which I'm going to get into more in a little bit. But overall, I mean, the pass rush just has to be, existent in this one, because you take a look at Jacksonville's O-line, they all have PFFs of less than 70. Those are not good numbers right there. And again, I'm not a PFF guy. I'm not so much of a big analytical guy. But when I see numbers like that, it's a really good indicator that the pressure rate is absolutely going to have to be an advantage in this game for us, and it's going to have to help us to have any iota of cooling off this Jacksonville team. I kind of expect to see TJ Watt going up against Anton Harrison in this game, so I think TJ really has to feast in this one. All right. So there you go right there with Trevor Lawrence as a whole. But when he's not carrying the load, and something else I forgot to mention with him, I don't know the status of his leg. He played with a little bit of a bum leg last Thursday against the Saints. But according to him, his leg is fine. I mean, he didn't look hurt at all against the Saints. Let me be honest with you right there. So I really don't think that's going to be a factor for this one right here. But when it's not Trevor Lawrence carrying the load, you got to worry about guys like Christian Kirk in the slot. He's number 1 in the slot right there, and that's a really big mismatch for us right there, because we have been terrible in the slot this year, and it's where this defense has been the most vulnerable, and this is where I get into the pass defense right here. We gave up a 140-plus yard game to Puka Nacua, last week, and not a knock at Puka Nacua. He's a great young talent, but when this guy has at one point more total yards than our entire offense collectively, that is a very big, worrisome problem right there. We did hold Cooper Kupp in check quite on. That's the thing that I was worried most about last week. We were able to keep Cooper Kupp in check, but playing against a guy like Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, you got to replicate that defensively as well, So, basically, who is going to play in the slot with this one? And this is where I am putting my eyes on Mike Tomlin like a hawk, because I listened to his press conference on Tuesday. Once again, it was a very meh press conference. That's being nice to it at this point. But he didn't specify really about where the players are going to be rotated around and where they're going to be played in this one, but I want to see Minkah Fitzpatrick play in the slot this coming Sunday. That's been a big question for us. Who is going to play that slot defense in the defensive backs in the secondary? We have that guy in Elijah Riley. Shannon Sullivan's had his chance with that, and he hasn't looked too good with it. And Levi Wallace and Patrick Peterson have just been miserable all season. I don't need to say anything more about that. But when Minkah Fitzpatrick is incorporating the safety blitzes and he's playing in the slot, I really do feel like he gives us the best chance at coming up with a good, pass defense right there, because he's very versatile. Even though he's listed as a free safety, I do think that he can play that strong safety role as well. So I want to see Minkah in the slot for this game right here. Okay? But the biggest guy that I'm concerned about is Travis Etienne. Okay? I am worried about Trevor Lawrence. I am. But Travis Etienne is the guy that really pops out to me. You cannot let this guy beat you right here, because he is very explosive, and you're talking about a guy who leads the league in rush attempts, and with this rush defense, giving up pretty much 5 yards a game to running backs, and especially seeing how we've done against the run this year. Week 1, CMC gashed us. Week 2, even with Nick Chubb out for pretty much the whole game, the Browns gashed us with Jerome Ford. Week 3 was probably the best game that we've had with the rush defense, where we held Josh Jacobs in check again. But then, right back to it. Week 4, Houston gashed us on the ground. Week 5, when Lamar had those big chunks of yards against us, he was gashing us. And then, of course, last week, LA's second and third string running backs, with their top running back being out for the game, gashed us once again. Like I said, put Benton up the middle. Larry Ogunjobi has to be a factor. Nick Herbig, like I said, has to be a factor. Because this Jacksonville team, they will punch you in the mouth, and they will shove the ball right down your throat when you least expect it, because that's the kind of guy that Travis Etienne is. All right? Getting on to Jacksonville's defense, they run a 3-4 attack. They attack a lot with the zone and the man blitzes, so pretty similar defenses right here when you look at it in a nutshell for us. And like I said, they are allowing 20.9 points per game. But I think this is where, if Kenny Pickett is to silence all his critics, myself included, and if Matt Canada is to silence all his critics, myself included, this is the game to do it. Because while the Jags are fourth in rush defense, and they have limited running backs very well this season, where I don't expect Jaylen Warren or Najee Harris to really be big factors in this game, here's where you have to beat them. You have to beat them through the air. This is a get-it-right game for Kenny Pickett. He's only had one really good game this year. That was back in Week 3 when we played Vegas. Nothing terrible, but nothing great at the same time last week against LA. But still, it avoids me from saying that he played terrible. I just don't think he played particularly great. Again, I don't know what more he could have done going up against LA's physical front. But if Kenny Pickett is to have a get-it-right game, this is the game to do it, because Jacksonville is 31st in pass defense this year. They're just coming off a game where they gave up over 300 yards passing to Derek Carr, and they have held wide receivers to 83%, but this is a get-it-right game for Kenny Pickett. I want to see Darnell Washington be utilized in this game, blocking on that line. I want to see him get involved. George Pickens, like I said, he's our WR1. He needs to have another solid game. Deontay Johnson, I've been hard on him. I criticized him last week for his stupid, taunting penalty that he had. This is a get-it-right game for Deontay Johnson because he ran some pretty good routes last Sunday. He made some really good plays this past Sunday. And against this Jacksonville defense that does not do particularly well and they give up a lot of yards, I want to see those two receivers come to fruition in this game right here. Because, hey, like I said, we do not have the best pass defense either. Our pass defense has been getting manhandled when JPJ is not being put in the game. So, Mike Tomlin, in order for you to have a successful defense, get rid of this scrub, Levi Wallace, and give JPJ his shot. There is literally no excuse anymore, and it's the same thing with Broderick Jones. I do understand that Josh Allen, not the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, but the pass rusher for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I do understand that Josh Allen is a top edge rusher in the league. He hits hard, and he does cause a lot of misses when it comes to the pass rush, and he does cause a lot of missed opportunities because of his pass rushing abilities. But you know what? I flaunted that dead horse enough already. Put Broderick Jones in with left tackle already, okay? And especially with this right side, because Chooks is trash, all right? The right side has been very suspect this year. Chooks is garbage. Isaac Seumalo has done okay, nothing great, but nothing terrible. I just expect better out of him. Okay, and then you got James Daniels, also on the left guard. I don't really know what to make of him. Mason Cole, again, don't know what to make of him with center. But how long does it take to fix up an offensive line? It seems like ever since Mike Munchak left, this offensive line has just gone backwards every single year. But here's how you stop it. You're going up against a guy who has 7 sacks on the season, who hurries quarterbacks, and Kenny Pickett, he did, like I said, I don't know what more he could have done. He was 5 of 8 against the pressure last week. He did the best that he could, especially against, in my opinion, a top 3 defensive tackle in all time in Aaron Donald. And now you're going up against Josh Allen more likely than not in this game. Put Broderick Jones in at left tackle. Take the damn training wheels off of him. I don't know how many more times I have to say it. I understand weeks 1 through 3, you got that gauntlet of pass rushers, and you don't want to throw them in the fire right away. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. We are now over a month since that point. And Broderick Jones, the last time he got his start against Baltimore in week 5, he's only given up 1 pressure. Take the training wheels off of him because Dan Moore is garbage, trash, excrement. What is the point of trading up to get this guy when you believe he's going to fix your O-line and then you're just going to say, you know what, we're going to put you on the bench because we don't trust you against pass rushes? It makes no sense whatsoever. It really doesn't. So, altogether, you take a look at these two teams. Like I said, they're kind of the opposite of each other if you tune into my Week 8 picks. Jacksonville tends to get off to a hot start offensively, but then they cool down as the game progresses. But hey, if their formula works for them, it works. They are 5-2. They are leading the AFC South, I believe. And they have won 4 in a row. And they're the favorites to win that division again. They do play tough defensively, like I said, because they have done very well with causing turnovers. I think they have, 16 turnovers on the season? We have to match that. Because while we are ice cold in the first half, we tend to wait until the game is dwindling down to play our best brand of football. And again, you can call it winning football all you want. I'm sick and tired of seeing that. Which is why at the beginning of this video I said, I do not want to see that. I want to see 60 minutes of football. From top to bottom, physical, tough, and a clean win against a quality team. Okay? Jacksonville, they do a relatively good job with taking care of the football. This defense can come up with some timely turnovers. You gotta cause more turnovers. You gotta make Trevor Lawrence feel the heat. You cannot let Travis Etienne beat you on the ground. Again, I want to see Minkah play in that slot, and I also want him to see him play as the ball hawk that he is as well. That is how you cool off this Jacksonville team, who can score a lot of points, and they can limit you relatively well as well. I'd say the only thing that these two have in common as far as offense goes is their red zone. Both are at 50% when it comes to third down efficiency when it comes to the red zone. But altogether, Jacksonville, this is a quality team. They've caused the Steelers a lot of trouble in the recent past. Break that cycle. Everyone is counting you out, Steelers, saying it's a hollow 4-2 record. They don't deserve to have them 4 wins. And I don't disagree with them. Want to shut me up? Go out there and beat this team. Okay? Remember week 1 against San Francisco? Because how many times have the Steelers got blown out in recent years by top echelon teams or elite to very good teams? Way too often. Last year alone, blown out in Buffalo, blown out in Philly. 2021, blown out twice in Kansas City. 2020, blown out in Buffalo. Also in 2021, pretty much 2 blowout losses to the Bengals. 2020, blown out in Buffalo. That dreadful playoff game against the Browns that pretty much lost me every ounce of respect that I've ever had for Mike Tomlin. But then this season against Houston a couple weeks ago, that officially broke me for good for Tomlin. You get the point. You see this team get blown out way too often by elite to very good teams. Is Jacksonville an elite team? I wouldn't say they're elite, but they are a very good team. This is a team that is, in my opinion, more than capable of appearing in the AFC Championship game at the very best when they put all their, cards in play and they play all their cards right. Doug Peterson is that type of coach that is definitely capable of working well with a quarterback and getting an offense ready and willing to fight for every single yard and inch that they're going to go out there and play for. Travis Etienne is the gold standard when it comes to this offense, and he is the anchor of this offense, and Trevor Lawrence just continues to play better and better as the weeks go by. Like I said, he's a top 5, possibly top 3 quarterback in the AFC right now. Kenny Pickett has to have a get-it-right game. Kenny Pickett has to have one of the best games of, if not the best game of his career this week. The defense has to come in there hungry, mean, and determined. You are playing, as I said, with 2 of your former alumni being honored who both play defense, and they're going to expect some big things out of you this week, defense. Do not let them down, because you are starting a home stretch of 3 home games in a row. You got this week, then you got a short week coming up against Tennessee on Thursday, and then you got pretty much a mini bye week where you stay at home and play the Green Bay Packers. Do I expect us to win all 3 of these home games? No. But I do expect us to fight in every single one of them, and I want us to win! Play like the damn Steelers and win. And that's all I got to say for this video. Shut me up, guys. Stop making me bitch in my post games. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Mac, checking on out for the day. Go Steelers!